You Fox 4. This is a Fox 4 News Alert.
Well, good morning. I'm Tim Ryan along with Shannon Murray watching a police chase that is in progress right now at about 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. That's the car the police are after. This has been going on for quite some time. Sky 4 just arriving over the scene.
And we know this right now they are eastbound on LBJ, just passing the tollway. Mesquite and Garland right now involved in this chase. The Isuzu rodeo you see there reportedly traveling between 90 and 100 miles per hour at times. This began as a theft call out of a Home Depot in Mesquite. You see that SUV there traveling through traffic right now with police in chase.
There were two people inside the that small SUV when that chase began, as we again at Mesquite Home Depot. One of them bailed out and has already been arrested. The driver leading police from Mesquite and Garland on that chase. This is right through the High-Five interchange right now, so kind of a dangerous intersection. But it went from east to west into Dallas, and now the driver has turned back around and is heading back in the general direction where the whole thing started some time ago.
Well, and along with Mesquite and Garland police, we also know the DPS helicopter is also tracking this chase and following that Isuzu rodeo right now. Right,
and the police have called for, see if they have any sheriff's deputies in the area who might have spike strips that they could throw out across the road there. At this speed, in this kind of traffic, that is not going to be a safe place for that to happen. They're going to have to wait until they get into a more restricted area where it would be safe for a police officer or a deputy to throw out those spike strips. The sheriff's office carries them. Believe Dallas PD does not carry them, considering them a little bit dangerous.
Right, and we know this has been going on for some time. It started in Mesquite as a theft around 11 o'clock or so.
Right.
And now 11:20. They're in North Dallas. We saw them pass the High-Five right now. They are on 635 traveling eastbound.
Speeds up to 90 to 100 miles an hour right now, so this could be dangerous. You can imagine the folks who are just minding their own business and traveling in those traffic lanes, and all of a sudden they see this excitement coming up from behind it. You know how startling enough it is when you see a police car or a fire truck come up behind you. Imagine this at 90 to 100 miles an hour. Right.
Overhead.
Right. And so we're continuing eastbound on LBJ towards Mesquite, just having passed through the High-Five.
If you're just joining us right now, we're breaking into programming to cover this police chase right now in North Dallas. It started as a theft call out of a Home Depot in Mesquite. Right now, police, Garland police and Mesquite both involved chasing this Isuzu rodeo, traveling speeds up to 100 miles an hour. Right now, they are eastbound on LBJ. We've already seen them pass the tollway. They've past the High-Five, coming up on Skillman right now.
Right, and different agencies have different rules about what they can and cannot do during these police pursuits.
And when they chase and when they drop out. We just saw an officer on that overpass there as they went under Skillman.
Right. Dallas is very conservative about chases, and unless it's something serious or life-threatening, the Dallas policy is generally to call off a chase,
which is what happened this morning. This is the second chase we've reported on today. Earlier this morning, Mesquite also involved in that first chase early this morning.
Right, and so but they'll kind of lay back a little bit. What tends to happen is these folks, I'm going to say guy because most of the time it is, will tend to go back to an area with which they are familiar, and indeed at this point looks like the chase is heading back in the general area where it began, back towards the Mesquite area. So we'll see where this individual bails off.
Right now we believe there's only one person in that SUV. There were two theft suspects initially. One of them bailed out, was already taken into custody by police, we assume, and possibly one person there right now. They are approaching the Garland area right now. It looks like he's picking up speed just a bit. Maybe there's a little more room, not as much traffic in that area. He's definitely picking up speed. We know this driver has been traveling between 90 and 100 miles an hour at times. Right, and you can see right over there to the left the HOV lanes, which can be a little bit confusing sometimes, and so smartly the driver not getting into those HOV lanes at this point, because sometimes when you do get into them, you can't get out of them, just depending on the traffic flow. You're stuck there for a while. Right. So again, you can see, if you assume that traffic that you're seeing, the normal traffic,
is going about 70 miles an hour, so you can imagine how fast this guy's been going. Earlier reported up to 90 to 100 miles an hour.
He's passing by all of that traffic.
Right.
No problem. And I'm sure many people right now slowing down, making way as they hear those police sirens. They see the helicopters overhead. DPS helicopter is tracking this chase right now, along with Sky 4 overhead, which is what you're watching right now. If you're just tuning in, this is a police chase in northeast Dallas. It started as a theft call out of a Home Depot in Mesquite. We know there were initially 2 suspects. One of them bailed out. The other, we assume, still driving this white Isuzu Rodeo SUV. You see changing lanes right now, going around some of these semis and other vehicles.
Right. Skipping by one of the
road.
exits there, but we will see. If I were betting, I'd bet that fairly soon the driver exits and starts to head back to where this whole thing began, because that's an area that he or she was probably familiar with. So we will see what happens. But the police are trying to stay ahead of it, trying to guess where this thing is going to go. And as they get ahead of it, they would like to put those spike strips out and flatten some tires, which takes a little bit more than air out of the chase. It takes, here we go. Looks like we may be heading for an exit now.
And they've been traveling eastbound.
Right. And we're where, assignment desk people?
Getting off on Ferguson now, off of 635 in northeast Dallas County, near or in Garland at this point.
Right, and running into some traffic right now. So
near Centerville? They're right there near Centerville and Ferguson. No choice but to come to a stop here in this traffic. We'll see what he does next.
Right, and you just hope you're now involved with a lot of innocent people in that area, and you just don't want anybody to get hurt. This is not a crime of the century. As again, as said before, it began with a theft call out of a Home Depot store.
He's going through this light, making a right turn, it looks like.
And
he's about to be cornered.
Feigning a stop there and then starting up once again.
With more traffic on both sides of the road here. So we believe right now there is one person in this SUV. There was another person involved in the theft at Home Depot who has already been taken into custody by police. Right now, Mesquite and Garland were giving chase. Dallas police not involved in that chase.
Looks like it's over. Door is opening. Individual coming out, hands up and down on his knees. And that has come to a hopefully successful end. Nobody else in the car. And happy to report that situation has ended peacefully. Police looking in the back, checking to make sure there's nobody else in the back of that small SUV. But it's over after about a half hour. We will have the latest for you on Fox 4 News at noon.